Hello, chums. I want to talk about something that's been on my mind a lot lately. How lucky people on the left side of politics are, especially when they're always complaining about issues like freedom, equal opportunity, discrimination, and prejudice here in the Western world. So in countries like the USA, the UK, Canada, and Australia. I came across this article from The Sun that really puts things into perspective. It's about the morality police in Iran and the brutal reality they impose on people, especially women. Imagine getting dragged off the street and shoved into a van just because of what you are wearing. Well, that's what happened to a young woman in Iran, and it was all caught on video. It's horrifying. For these women, the simple act of choosing what to wear can lead to public humiliation, beatings, and even imprisonment. This isn't just about fashion, it's about having basic control over your own life and body. Here in the West, the left is always vocal about our society's issues. They protest about racial discrimination, gender inequality, and a lack of equal opportunity. And sure, we've got our problems, but think about this. You have the freedom to protest, to speak out, to demand change. That's a huge privilege. But how often do we see them appreciate that privilege? Instead, they're happy to protest and deface statues. Take the Black Lives Matter movement. I'm not going to say that policing is perfect. It's not. Like any profession, you are always going to get bad apples. But plenty of police are decent, hardworking, patriotic people who put their lives on the line every day to protect their community. Although these days in the UK, whether they are patriotic is questionable, but I'll talk about that in a moment. But fair enough. If people want to protest about the rights of others or themselves, then I say good on them. So long as it's peaceful and respectful, then I'm fine with it. And I think that's their right. But the problem was, it was far from that. It was an opportunity for left-wing radicals with nothing better on their hands to hijack a cause and use it as a platform to cause destruction, chaos, and vandalism. Too often this happens, whether it's LGBTQ issues, whether it's immigrant issues, whether it's climate issues. Radicals hijack what may otherwise be a genuine cause and turn it into a violent attack on our societies and our values. And the sad thing about it is, these genuine people who are peacefully trying to protest their cause get caught up in the broad brush strokes that the rest of us apply to these professional protesters, and the focus is taken away from the cause. But here's the thing. While these voices are loud and clear, sometimes violent and sometimes destructive, the left needs to realize how lucky they are to have the freedom to voice these concerns. In places like Iran, Pakistan, and Somalia, just speaking out can get you into serious trouble. In Iran, the morality police enforce strict dress codes, and women face severe consequences for the slightest deviations. In Pakistan, blasphemy laws can lead to mob justice and lynchings, not through fair trials, but through violent retribution. And in Somalia, political instability and lack of basic infrastructure make life incredibly tough, with freedoms we take for granted almost being non-existent. When those on the left compare our issues to the situations in these countries, the differences are stark. In the West, you can criticize the government, march in protests, and demand justice without fearing for your life. That's a level of freedom many people around the world can only dream of. Yet, there are those on the left who seem to want these freedoms exclusively for their own causes and positions, often labeling anyone who disagrees with them as fascists. And let's be real, there are times when it feels like some of our rights are being eroded. Look at what's happening in the UK. Militant Islamists are allowed to protest for Hamas, a designated terrorist organisation, while native British people are often intimidated by their own police force for flying the Union Jack and showing pride in their country. How crazy is that? But that's a topic for another time. I've heard stories from immigrants who've left everything behind to come to the West. I've worked with a lot of Iranians who have turned away from Islam and converted to Christianity because they firmly believe in what the West stands for and the truth of that faith. They talk about the freedoms and opportunities they never had in their home countries. These stories are often powerful reminders of how fortunate we are despite our flaws. So it's time for those on the left to grow backbones and start realizing that what the Western world offers are freedoms and rights that people in countries like Iran, Pakistan, and Somalia, well, they can only dream of. It's time they started appreciating what they've got. And if they don't like the way that countries like the USA, UK, Canada, and Australia are run, or the values and institutions that generations before us fought so hard for in the First and Second World Wars, along with current conflicts, then I've got a solution. Become an immigrant, move to Iran, and enjoy the freedoms, rights, and opportunities that you will be afforded there, and see how bad life can really get. To drive this point home, I'll leave you with a quote. Many forms of government have been tried and will be tried in this world of sin and woe. No one pretends that democracy is perfect or all wise. Indeed, it has been said that democracy is the worst form of government except for all those other forms that have been tried from time to time. That quote comes to you from Winston Churchill. Thanks for listening, and make sure to like this video and subscribe. It will help me grow this channel and connect me with people like you who value our freedoms, our way of life, and our Western culture. Tally ho.